this was, everybody has those moments in their life, that story that it was had such an impact. And sometimes you don't even know until later, but I really remember my first night there. Actually, I think it was my second night. 30 years ago, it's a little foggy. But I had started studying French when I was 14, really to spite my father because he wanted me to study Spanish, and we were always kind of going head to head to strong-headed Italians. So I started studying French, and I liked it. And I didn't really know what I wanted to do when I went to college. I was good at finance, but it wasn't my passion. So I took my business classes and I kept taking French, and I couldn't learn it very well. People pick up languages easily. That's not been one of my gifts. I've worked really, really hard to learn language. So I wanted to continue it, and my professors kept saying, you should really go to France. And I thought, well, that's a really good idea, but I'm really paying for this by myself. And I had a scholarship. If I went abroad, I would lose it. It was finally the last year, my senior year, I did this. I said, I'm just going to do this. I
Wow.
had broken up with a boyfriend. It was sad, but not devastating, but I just felt like, what am I really doing with my life? And I figured out how to do it. I waited tables, saved some money, took out loans, and I went thinking that I was going to learn the language finally. What ended up happening, I really didn't get much better at the language because I lived with Americans, which is another story. But what ended up happening was a transformation. It transformed the way that I ate, that I looked at food, and that set the mood for the rest of my life. And this meal that I speak of, that is the clearest memory, like it's just I remember this night like it was yesterday. We were 4 people. I didn't know the other 3. We had just met, and we went to this little bistro in Paris, right? I mean, this is going to be a good story, right?
Absolutely.
Spent 3 hours at the table, and we picked a place that was reasonable because we were students and didn't have a lot of money. But I remember when the waiter served the food, it felt like he was dancing to the table. I mean, I can just see him. I can see he was tall and thin, and I felt like he was just kind of gliding, dancing to the table, and serving this food that you would think he made. Like he was invested in giving us this food, honored that we were there, that he was able to serve it to us. And there was just the right amount of time in between each course. There was, I don't know if it was the right amount of time. For me, it was perfect, but some people might say, oh my gosh, you waited like 15 minutes. People would, get upset, I think, here sometimes. But I loved that 15, 20 minutes in between the courses because we ate slowly. We were not rushed. We didn't have one thing piled on top of the other. We savored everything. We talked. We rested. Our digestion was good because we weren't in a rush state, right? We sipped wine. Actually, we started with a little aperitif. They gave us a little cocktail and a snack, little mise en bouche. And then we had our first course, and then waited, and then the second course, and then waited, and then dessert. And then they brought us an after dinner drink and coffee. And I remember walking out thinking, that was a dream. And I wasn't full. And I felt like these 3 people were my best friends now. And I remember walking down the street with all of this. So I lived like that for an entire year. And it was, it was transformational. The eating slow and taking your time and really respecting your food. I always, my sister-in-laws never look at a cake like they're going to get fat if they eat it.